This is Parties to End by Same Eyes. This band was introduced to me by my friend Dana. It's actually the lead singer is like one of her best friends from college, Alex Hughes, who I have not yet had the pleasure to meet, but I have many questions for him about the writing of this album. I really, really love this album. It was on my top 10 of the year. It didn't make it to my Hip Dad Radio top four. Um, but this album for me is Talking Heads meets Part Time. Alex sings like David Byrne in like the same kind of vein. And I really love the way that it's mixed. The synth shines so hard on this album. And I really am curious to hear them play live because there's a lot of layering. So I don't know like how much of that layer would translate live. Like when we went to go see sports live, there were certainly like parts of the songs that couldn't be played because there were only so many people that could only make it to the final production of the album. And I fear that that might be the same case for this album live, but I could be wrong. They could just be very, very talented. Um, Two songs I absolutely love is Forever and Rush Cutter. Forever is just a vibe, and the synth in Rush Cutter with like the chime synth is so good, and it just keeps on like building and building and building on itself. I thought I don't think there was any song on this album I didn't like. Um, yeah, I like this. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, what is a chime synth exactly?
It's just I don't know the word for it, but like the synth sounds like chimes.
Mm. Because I was gonna follow up on what you said, Reed, about the synths shining on this album, and I was actually gonna say that for me, this album was Part Time meets LCD Sound System, who I feel like is a natural progression from the Talking Heads. So like I'm right there with you, man. Like I thought that a lot of the bass lines, a lot of the like synth sounds on this album really reminded me of something from like LCD Sound System, but with that sort of kind of it's not ethereal, but sort of kind of high up sort of synth sound coming out of it that also sort of kind of brings it all together. I really like this album as well. And I only got a chance to give it maybe one or one and a half listens. But I'm definitely gonna be going back to it because
It seemed like a James listen for sure.
Yeah, totally.
That's what I was thinking.
Reminded me a lot of Roosevelt too, actually, who I've been listening to a lot more recently.
Yes.
Yeah, this album gave me a lot of like new wave vibes. And I know you made the comments, the comparison to Part Time, but it almost sounds like old new wave that's just modern.
Like the most spot on new wave album it could be. Like a literally new wave. It's like,
they just call old new wave wave.
Yeah, they just
Yes.
yeah. This is new wave. The other stuff that was old.
That was just wave.
I was just wave at this
This
point.
is called modern wave. I'm sorry. No, I really like this one. I found myself like I would listen to a track and I would go back and re-listen to it because this is such a short album. So like I wanted more. And I think that's my only downside of this. Like I just want more of the album. Like I would be happy if there was double the amount of songs on there. And if it was closer to an hour. Because I think it flows really well. I like the sound. I'm looking. Part Time is finally back. I don't know if anyone knows this, but his music is back on streaming services.
Oh, we noticed.
It's still a little taboo to like, listen to it. So now I'm just like, oh, I'll just listen to these guys instead.
These guys now. Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about the music scene these days is that there's always someone who you can find who's not canceled.
Yeah, this album, I fell in love with it when Dana first brought it over and we listened to it, but I didn't listen to it since then. And then I listened to it for this, and I was like, man, this is amazing. I like there aren't a lot of bands that just hit the nail, on the head of like new wave, but this band does it. I don't know. I just think every song was amazing too. It reminded me of kind of like those classic new wave bands like Talking Heads, like Human League. Just like, yeah, really good stuff. I don't know what else to say about it really. I can't wait to listen to more of it.
Yeah, I loved this album a lot too. I definitely picked up on the like David Byrne style of vocalization that Alex Hughes brings to the game. Uh, I loved all the synth work on it. It was just all around great. Really good album.
Oh, one thing I want to add before I forget. I think what makes this different than like part times music, I think the rhythm and like the percussion, it really stands out on this album. And it makes it really dancey, you know, and just something I just think really stands out. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I love that kind of the new wave put to a dance beat. Was that I don't know a lot of part time. Was that something that they did? Kind of that sound.
Like the synth in like the 80s kind of
Yeah.
With the voice, you know, the very
Yeah, it's cool. I really like the album. It's so short. It's like a half hour. It's like just a quick hit of energy. Yeah, I don't have much to say. It hits the ear very. It's very, you know, you listen to it and you're like, oh yeah, this is it, baby. And it's kind of vibe. It's a vibe. I like it a lot.
It's that lizard part of your brain.
I listened to this like pretty quickly around the time I listened to Dawn FM, and that was kind of an interesting experience. It just felt like this was much more of a tribute to the old kind of new wave, combined with that dance side. So it was a cool listen. I liked it a lot.
Pretty much just a lot of great albums this week.
Yeah.
Really, I think we all knocked it out of the park.
yeah. Well, Reed's got to rate it real quick.
I think we all have the same problem with this album, in that it's not long enough.
They're coming out with a new album.
Problem to have, but it's something like
We want more.
we want more. I wish there were like 10 or 12 songs on this album, and I wish there was a little more guitar. But other than that,
That's fair.
really, really good album. It's hard for me to find an album where I love every song. So I would give this probably an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10.
Doug in the chat, just play it twice in a row every time you listen to it.
Not a bad idea, Doug.
You could do that, or you could double up the songs, like play them twice in a row.
Cue it twice.
Yeah.
Sweet, man.
All right.